Hey Sam, are you excited to go to Orange?
You bet I am.
You're gonna have like a bloopers section.
So for this week, I'm going to be asking my Australian friends some questions that you guys had asked me to ask them. And also here is my friend Joanna from Hong Kong, and she'll be asking questions too. So here we go. So how does it feel to be missing out on all the cheeses of the world?
We don't. We were in a store yesterday. We're like, oh wow, there's so many types of cheese.
That was like a specialty kind of thing though. I mean, like when you go to like a regular grocery store in America, there's a huge aisle just with all kinds of different cheese. And here it's like you have tasty cheese or Parmesan.
That's not true at all.
That's
we
not
have
true.
specialty cheeses in the deli section, and we have like packaged cheeses
you
in
should
the
know.
fridge section. We still have like a bunch of cheeses.
We spent yesterday going backwards and forwards from the tasty cheese aisle to the other types of cheese aisle because we weren't sure.
Cheese aisle.
Well, like the section of the aisle. With
Well, that's
tasty
also
cheese
where
in it.
all the other cheddar is kept.
Well, okay, actually, no, because there's cheddar on the special aisle, and then there's cheddar, like, on the other side, so it just depends on what kind of cheddar you want. And
One
it's
of
just
them's probably filled
okay.
with sawdust.
call out post for Woolworths, sort your cheese situation out, because having the deli cheese on one side, like here, and then the other types of cheese literally on the other side of the store is just dumb, because I don't know if I'm going to want, like, a crumbly cheddar, or, like, a Havarti, or fucking, I don't know, like,
So
maybe...
is the cheese situation in Coles a lot better?
We don't talk about Coles in this house.
I don't go to Coles because they have even worse selection.
The cheese selection at Kohl's is really bad. That's probably my biggest complaint. Because I will go to Kohl's, the one that's kind of on the way back from my house. And there's like tasty cheese and Havarti and Parm. That's about it. So I think that's what they mean. It's just like at a regular grocery store trip. It's a lot
But I mean,
harder to
Woolworths
find.
is a regular grocery store. It's
Yeah.
just slightly more expensive.
Like, I'm sorry you live in a terrible area, but that's not really my problem.
In Australia, we don't have food deserts, but we do
Okay,
have cheese deserts.
Cheese deserts. Yeah, like, to put it back on you, what's it like in America not having, like, only having one variety of apple and it tastes like flour?
We have so many varieties of apple.
When we were there, there was like, here, you have one, it's this big, and
What?
it's bad. Yeah.
Where were you?
In a food desert, obviously.
California.
California. Oh man, we have so many kinds of apple.
Oh.
We
Do you
way
have Granny
more.
Smiths?
Of course.
Yeah, when we were there, it was just like one
You
kind
have
of...
to make apple pie out of Granny Smith's, that's the rules.
Yeah,
In America?
of course.
Surely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't
Granny
really
Smiths
make
are
apple pies
apple
in
pie.
Australia.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's one thing too, is in
Fancy
Australia, if you order a pie, it's usually going to be savory.
Because we're not insane.
Oh my god.
It's going to be savory.
I remember when I was in Europe, they didn't have meat pies like in Germany or anything, but they had so many bakeries, and it was like 4 weeks into this trip, and I was just about to give like some bakery €50 to just put like mince and gravy in a pastry because I'm like, I want a
Pro
meat
tip,
pie.
viewers, you want to make money? Start a meat pie shop.
Yeah, apparently.
Everybody loves meat pies.
Apparently, there were 2 Australian guys who went to America to like Vegas or something and opened up a pie shop, and everyone there was just like, holy shit, this is the best thing ever. And it's like, yeah, and they make a lot of money.
I've never had a meat pie.
Allegedly.
What?
You
I've
had,
never had a meat
you
pie.
had notes it's a veggie pie today, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a veggie pie. I've never had a
Why
meat
would you
pie.
eat a veggie
Didn't you
pie?
have a whole thing where you were like, I'm not going to be vegetarian anymore because I want to try a meat pie, and we kept being like, you could just try a meat
I
pie.
didn't try the meat pie.
Well, no, she
And
didn't.
you're not
She just said
vegetarian.
No,
barbecue
I
donuts.
am mostly, yeah, I'm mostly vegetarian.
Yeah,
Just when I travel.
Maybe we should buy you a meat pie.
Probably okay on that.
Yeah,
Next video.
moving on.
So yeah, moving on. Also, what is tasty cheese?
It's
Immature cheddar.
It's just
So like cheddar that's kind of like Regan?
wow.
Right.
It's just pale
I thought we
cheddar.
weren't being mean on this video. You haven't eaten a meat pie. We're not friends anymore.
No, you're not allowed to be mean. We're allowed to be mean to you.
We're just
So guys, how often do you come across regional dialects?
I live in a region, so
A region?
It depends where you go in Australia. So, because I live in the country, we get a lot of very country accents. We'll say things like yesterday or Monday or Tuesday, and yeah, lots of like like slang and stuff, but when you get more into the city, I think people have more of an American accent or an English accent because they interact with like television and media with that culture. Like I've been asked if I'm from America before because I pronounce my R's.
I find that Australians tend to overpronounce their R's. Like if you're using Australia in a sentence, it ends up coming out like Australia.
I feel like that's
In
the
a
opposite
sentence
of
though,
true.
like when you're rolling it into something
Yeah,
else.
well that's because we just roll like our words into one another.
I have noticed that.
I think because of our population density being so different to America, we don't have the same like regional accent spread. Like most of our people have an Americanized accent, except those who live out in the sticks because they all watch television and they all like interact with Western media. So we don't really have like super regional accents anymore.
Actually, I changed my answer. It depends on the person's culture because we're so multicultural. You will still get people who are like very much Australian, but because they come from, say, like the one that comes to mind is Lebanese Australians have a very specific accent that
That's
I'm
true.
not going to imitate on camera.
What about like, I think people in America tend to think that everybody here is going to sound like Steve Irwin or Crocodile Dundee.
Definitely not.
Maybe if you go to fucking far north Queensland, but I wouldn't recommend that. Because they're a little silly up there. But no, we don't. No.
Isn't there a word for
Ochre, yeah. It's Ochre Australian, which is like
Australian?
true blue Aussie. I know, yeah.
Like kind of like the guy who smeared Vegemite on his face and like jumped off the ladder with the cape. Did you see that video? He like had the Australian
Oh my
flag
God.
like tied and
That
he was
sounds
like
about
how to
right.
be. It was Australia Day.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's a true blue Aussie.
That's classic fucking Australia Day shenanigans.
So, have you made out with a Hemsworth?
Yes.
Definitely not.
No, not even
Which
once.
Hemsworth?
Ooh.
Okay. All right. What is your favorite slang word?
My favorite is grouse.
What is
Why?
grouse?
Grouse means great. My aunt uses a lot, and it's just fun to say because you can be like, "Oh yeah, that's grouse."
My favorite's probably like cheers cunt, because if you said that anywhere
Jeez.
else in the world, they'd be like, what the fuck? But here it's like, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, cheese cunt.
Anytime.
Sam, do you have a favorite slang word?
I like Not Here to Fuck Spiders because it was purely made up by Tumblr.
Right.
Yeah, that was so. No one really said I'm not here to fuck spiders until someone lied on the internet, and everyone's like, "Did you say that?" It's like, no, because that makes sense.
I know,
Like half the
says it.
stuff we say does not. Like I don't know where the word grouse came from.
I thought
It's
it
a
was.
bird.
I thought it was the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I
just
thought it
make
was-
shit up. It's like when people are like, all Australians are paid actors, and you ask any Australian, we will tell you that we are paid actors, and there is
Yeah,
no
we are.
island here.
Sunny's paying us.
Yeah, we're actually all in a studio in LA right now, so
Yeah.
ignore this.
Make of that what you will.
I think my favorite is probably root, because I was really confused when I heard it the first time, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you're gonna do what?
I'm root ya.
And then I found out that root is sex.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
some foul sex terms like gobby.
What is gobby?
It's a blowjob.
Because you put it in your gob.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not.
Wait.
Growing up in an Australian high school was wild because it was like, oh, did you hear fucking such and such gave such and such a fucking gobby in the back of the ute? Like, oh.
A ute is a truck, by the way.
No,
Okay.
it's
Wrong.
no.
A ute is a ute,
A
and
ute
you guys
is a
are wrong.
ute.
It's
A
no,
ute
no,
is
it's,
a pickup
it's
truck.
our version of a pickup truck.
Oh, yeah, it's got the tray on the back. Like a ute, like you've got a truck that it doesn't necessarily have a tray, and that's not a ute. It's a truck. But a ute has got a tray.
It's a pickup truck,
You
guys.
put your dog in
It's
there.
sort of a pickup truck. You can have like the Commodore body with the tray at the back.
Yes, yeah.
And
We have flat
That's a
trays.
quintessential ute.
We have
Yeah.
Not the giant
Work
Toyota Hilux.
trays.
Yeah, or like you've got short ones that like douchebag people eaters always have, and it's those like shiny Holden
Yeah,
utes
exactly.
with like 2 doors, and they're always doing like 150 down
And
the
we
highway.
love
and you're like,
Lifted and
no, not lifted,
No,
like
lowered.
lowered.
Oh.
Lowered. And it's like, you are going to lose your license. And then like 20
Oh.
minutes later, you drive past and they're being like breath test, and it's like,
Yeah, those are
bitch.
proper bogan
That's
looking utes.
yeah.
They usually put
absolutely.
synthetic grass on the back of their ute too, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Ours are always
Someone- you're
lifted.
gonna
If
be
it's
in the
like
back of
somebody
the
who's
ute, it's
super
all
douchey, like the higher it's lifted, you can tell.
Yeah.
Small of the
Smaller
dick.
You know.
No, opposite, lowered with
Compensating.
fairings.
Yeah. No, it's.
And then you have the other side of bogans who have the utes that look very useful, but I guarantee they've never been off the road. They've got like bright
my God.
lights and spotlights and giant bull bars, but they're not like big pickup trucks like the
Ah.
American ones. They're like a Hilux, but there's more attachments than there is actual ute.
Yeah.
So, guys, do you only call McDonald's Mackers, or do you use other slang words or like abbreviations like Mackie D's or I don't know, Mickey D's?
Well, it's Macca's for starters.
Macca's.
There's no R. We got to drop as many
Mackers.
letters as
Oh,
possible.
Macca's.
So you gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
no.
just more efficient because we have a
Macca's.
Macca's run, and it's like Macca's run question
thing,
mark.
Macca's
You don't need
run?
like a sentence. You
Or
just
like, oi, I'm going on a Macca's run. Do you want anything? Rather than like, I'm going for a run on Macca's, which is 2 Macca's, or like 2 Mickey D's.
Do you ever buy someone else food who's not on the Macca's run? On a Macca's run?
When I did on Friday. I
You
did a
did?
Macca's run
I-
because everyone was moving,
I
and I
would
was like,
never.
I'm coming from work, so I'm doing a Macca's run.
I'd be like,
Do
if
you want anything?
you want Macca's, you gotta come on the Macca's run.
Well, yeah, and it's like a classic like induction thing for Australian teenagers. When you get your P's, the first
Have
thing
to
you
go
do,
on a
you
Macca's.
have to go on a Macca's run, and all your friends immediately are like, Macca's run, Macca's run. And like you're in high school, and because that's when you're about 16, I think, is when you get it.
It's 60.
16, 17, so you know, everyone would just cut class and go on Macca's runs all the time. Like, that's just what you do. So,
So this is one that I really liked. Are there flat earthers in Australia?
okay, so, alright, so here's the thing with flat earth, alright, is it's not that the earth, which is a globe, has been squashed like that. It's actually more like it's a ring. So, in flat earth, Australia is still there, just very far away from everything else. And I didn't answer your question at all, but yes, we do have flat earthers.
I have never met one, to be fair.
They're around. I've seen them on like Facebook and stuff, and it's like, embarrassing.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
not
have
like
seen
our
a
country's
Facebook group.
embarrassing enough.
I have seen a Flat Earth Australia Facebook group with like 100 people in it.
Yeah. I don't think it's
What is
as
about
common. I think we have bigger conspiracy theories.
Ooh, like what?
What happened to Harold Holt?
That's the guy who is the
He was the Prime Minister who disappeared into the ocean. Yeah.
He
It's
went
all
for
like,
a swim.
everyone here like is really passionate about Princess Diana, I think, as well. Like, who killed Princess Diana? Because for whatever reason, Australians were like, oh my god.
That's
I don't-
because you're a Commonwealth, so the Queen is actually the Queen of Australia too.
Technically.
She ain't my queen. I didn't vote for her.
I'd also
did.
like to make a quick note that we named a swimming pool after Harold Holt, who disappeared into the ocean.
After he disappeared into the ocean.
Is,
Anyway, so my personal theory is that he was picked up by Chinese subs, but
Not Japanese subs. No, this is.
Wasn't this
supposed to be Russia?
Japanese.
yeah, it was the Chinese.
Russian subs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well,
That
no,
was supposed to be Russia.
no, wasn't this when like the Chinese and the Russians were in cahoots?
Okay, that one's gonna need an explanation.
Wait, do you not know?
Well, they're
what
both communists, so they must be
Cahoots.
in bed
That-
together.
They
that
were
should have
doing
been-
shenanigans together. Shenanigans.
Do you mean they're rooting each other?
Rooting for each other. It's different.
Well, have you seen those old communism ads where it was pro, like, you know, we are allied, like Russia and China were allied, and they kept showing like Chinese men and Russian men working together, but they just look like a very domestic gay couple, like raising children, and they're like, we must work together and farm the land, and it's like, oh, gay farmers.
I've not seen those ads.
Okay, they're great. I love them. Like, just a lovely interracial couple.
Anyway, the idea was Harold Holt was either working with China or Russia, and he was going to be found out, so he walked into the ocean where he was picked up by a sub.
Yeah.
Because we never found his body, and usually people who die in the ocean wash up on a beach. He could have been eaten by a shark, I guess, but like,
But sharks don't like
Who knows?
humans, so.
yeah, we taste like ass to sharks, just so you know.
Alright guys, thank you so much for answering all these questions for us. Did you have any questions for me or Joanna?
What do you find the food is like here compared to America?
Be nice.
I'm gonna be nice about this. I don't really like traditional Australian food. I definitely miss all of my flavors and all of my choice back home, because here usually you get maybe a couple of options, and Australians are really heavy on fatty, meaty food, which is not really something that's ever been in my diet. So a lot of people might come out here and really enjoy the food, but I have mostly been reliant on the wonderful array of different kinds of Asian restaurants to make sure that I don't starve and die.
Yeah, we do have good Asian cuisine, I think.
It's amazing. It's better than anything that I can have in the States.
How scared of bears are you?
I am not scared of bears.
Have you ever seen a bear?
I have seen a bear. Ooh, who's at the door? Oh, hey!
Hi, would you like to be in our video?
Hey, this is our
This
other
is my
Australian Jess.
Very...
What's up? Throw shackers for that.
No, okay,
How's it going?
so
Sorry, keep going.
what are we having for dinner is my question.
What are we having for dinner?
What do you want to have for dinner?
We didn't even get that far, did we?
No.
Oh my goodness. So to answer Kaylee's question, what are we having for dinner? We're gonna do a Macca's run.
Are we
Just
gonna-
kidding, no.
I don't like Macca's.
No, I don't really like Macca's. God.
An American
Maybe
doesn't
I
like
have to.
Macca's.
Yeah, I
You
wish...
heard it here first.
I wish, because my mom has a pie maker at home and we could have made our own meat pies.
Or meat substitute pies with like corn or something. You know, like avocado.
What, you have to
Oh,
ruin
right. I
everything.
thought you meant like sweet corn.
No,
and I was
no,
like,
no.
what?
Like,
corn
you
is
know,
that? Yeah.
the brand corn.
Yes.
With a K.
Well, it's with a Q.
Heavy metal pies.
Bleh.
You could make vegetarian pie.
Yeah, totally. I had one for breakfast.
Well,
this
I don't
morning.
have
Vegetarian
a
pie.
pie
We
maker.
don't have the pie maker.
I love your
Um,
pants. They're cool.
Thank you.
Do you wanna?
Yeah, velvet's always such a nice thing to wear.
I know, I would have thought it
So
had
good.
to. I want to rock with it. I think it's double velvet's too much. I wear it for the vid though.
Sick.
Australian op shop blend.
Sick.
Look at it though.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
that's cool.
Up shops. Australian
bucket
classic
hat.
Australian.
Is this a video just for like? Is it of a specific thing?
YouTube.
So yeah, it's for YouTube. So it's been Ask an Australian. A bunch of people had questions for Australians, and then questions for me, the American. So
Oh.
yeah, I know, right?
Have you got any questions for Sunny?
Yeah, have you got any questions for me?
What do you think a bottle is?
I
I know that shit.
think it's really similar to our liquor stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that when you
Bottle
came
is-
here?
Yeah, did you know that?
What's that?
Did you know what a bottle was? Or were you wigged out by the light?
No, I totally knew.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I hope you would know at this point because all yesterday I was like, let's go to the bottle let's
Yeah.
go to the bottle let's go to the bottle
And then you showed up at liquor store.
Yeah.
Who has
No,
enough
I-
time to say liquor store though?
bottle
Okay, the servo
I have
and the
another
bottle.
question. Do you think Australia is a nanny state? Do you think like?
Ooh, I would say that New South Wales is. Yes, absolutely. New South Wales has a lot of legislation that I don't really agree with going on right now. Other parts of Australia, I think, are much more lax and tend to be a little bit more to the left than America is. But New South Wales is definitely the exception, and that's where Sydney is. So that's where I live. And we definitely have the police everywhere all the time, and it makes me very nervous because I don't really like that.
Well,
I think
out here, sorry.
I think Australia as a country has a lot more heavy-handed regulation with the government, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, whereas America focuses so much on freedom that they take a lot of their freedom away through social norms and giving voice to things that shouldn't have a voice.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the region. So where I live, we actually have one of the lowest police to citizen ratios in the country, and we also have a lot of crime. And the particular crime we have is because we have a lot of people who do hunting and stuff. There's a lot of not shootings but gun thefts.
Oh.
Like
What
home
area is
invasions.
this? Sorry.
Orange.
Orange.
Oh, you're from here.
Well, I live here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of car arson for whatever goddamn, like, over the past 6 months, a lot of people lighting cars on fire.
Yeah, so whack.
And people, like, would take, like, the police would take ages to respond because they're like, we have other shit. And then there's the classic, you know, domestic violence and people drunk driving because we're out in the country. But it's really hard to enforce things like highway patrol because all of the police work is being done, like, no one gets pulled over because you're not going to pull over and breath test someone when there's a fucking car on fire.
Yeah.
Like, on the other side of the town.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So it really depends. Whereas in Sydney, they're like, time to strip search everyone because we're bored. Like,
Yeah, so that's a real thing. People getting strip searched. There's been some videos going around YouTube of various people getting strip searched they're looking for drugs, and they don't really need a reason to strip search you. They can just do it because they want to.
well, it's reasonable suspicion. So
Yeah.
basically, I've seen a guy who was homeless get strip searched because he was homeless.
Or
And
that
like,
guy with the man bun, they told him he looks like a drug dealer.
yeah. So
Or people
usually,
with tattoos, it's
yeah, if you're young, alternative looking, not white, like, I think there's very
a guy
much.
as well. I think men get targeted
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they're not going to
definitely.
necessarily
Which
wanna
doesn't
just-
help because a lot of drug dealers then pass their drug running on to women who are, you know,
Yeah.
more vulnerable, which is a whole other problem.
Yeah,
Entirely.
like, it's a very complex web of social issues in terms of regulation and policing in Australia.
Yeah.
Joanna, who has lived in many places, where do you think you would like to live the most out of the places you visited?
Oh my god, that's a hard question.
Right here, in this house, with us.
Right, yeah, this house has been special to me the last couple of days. Orange has been really nice. It's, if you like the country, you like quiet, it's a beautiful town that actually has 4 seasons, which a lot of Australia doesn't have. So it's pretty magical having a change. Sydney, I don't know, like what they were saying, it is very policed. Like, it does impact, you know, the nightlife, the music, the festivals. It's just, yeah, it's not, if you're into like a party kind of scene, it's not really the city for that. I mean, they're
Go to
still
Melbourne.
there, yeah, but it's not the same. Hands down, love London, best city, but it is so fucking expensive. Like, can't afford the lifestyle you want, but amazing music, really good art and fashion and culture, really cool place. Wow, where else? I have to big up Hong Kong, obviously. Really fun city. Grew up there.
You're going to Nepal in a couple of days.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yep, so different scenery, all in the Himalayas, mountains, trekking. Just gonna chill out and have fun employment for a little while, so looking forward to that.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Hey, Jess.
Yo.
Do you want to come on the camera a little bit?
Yeah, I gotta get in here.
All right. So, Jess, you've missed most of our Ask an Australian section, so I'm going to pick one at random for you.
Woohoo!
And let's see.
Do a funny one.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like this one's going to be really good for Jess. Jess, what is your favorite slang term?
Oof. Oh, that's good. I really enjoy cooked at the moment. Like, that's
Munted.
but like, even just like, you gotta broaden it out. Like, cooked, it really like is kind of, I think it originated with people being cooked like off drugs. Like, if you were partying, like, oh, I'm so cooked.
Cooked like a Bunnings
But
snack.
now, yeah, that one's good. But now I'm really enjoying spreading cooked out into things like a political sphere. Like, the Liberal Party, the Australian government is quite conservative at the moment, so
It's cooked.
it's cooked. It's fucking cooked. Like, and people being cooked, like, I quite enjoy thinking like.
That's a very Australian thing too, having like slang with like both a positive and negative meaning based on context entirely. And that scales down to things like chips. Like, we only have chips. We don't have crisps. You have chips and you have chips, and an Australian will know which one you mean every time.
Yeah, it's
Well, you say hot chips.
Yeah, well, they're just chips.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it's like if we're like,
We do
let's-
say hot chips. Though.
let's go to the
Well,
kebab
yeah.
shop and get some chips.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, let's go to Woolies and get some chips. Everyone's like, okay, yeah, we know what that is.
it's context based.
It's
Mm,
context.
yeah.
And the trick is you listen to what people are saying.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for answering all of our questions and asking some really good ones too. What's a traditional way to say bye in Australia?
Laters cunts.
Cheers, cunts.
Cheers.
Cheers, cunts.
All right. Cheers, cunts.